Is an electronic torque wrench in your future? Come back and find out. I'm Tim Johnson. You're watching Shop Tool Reviews. This is the GearWrench model 85196, and it's their 120 XP electronic torque wrench with angle. So this model actually has the 1/2 inch anvil. You can also get this in a 3/8 as well as the smaller 1/4 inch as well. This particular model, the 1/2 inch, goes from 25 foot-pounds up to 250 foot-pounds, and it's within plus or minus 3 degrees in either direction. It's actually a tighter window in just the clockwise, which is 2%, and we'll get to that here in a moment. We'll talk about all the details. But basically, are you a click-stop style torque wrench kind of guy or gal, or do you like an electronic? And I will tell you, I go back and forth all the time. I like the feel of a click-stop style torque wrench. I like to feel that click, that positive click in there. Also, I like the feel of it, literally like in your hand, but that's where GearWrench has done a great job with this. Most other electronic torque wrenches, GearWrench included in their first style of their electronic torque wrench, is typically all plastic molded on the back end, and you just get that feel of a plastic and rubber handle. In this case, GearWrench has done a great job of giving it that, chrome look throughout, from the head all the way up to the handle, and then it goes into an aluminum and even a nice knurled finish here on the end with a nice bell end on it as well. So you get a very comfortable grip that feels like your typical torque wrench. I really like the feel and the look of this torque wrench. But how does it work? Let's actually take it over here on our test rig, figure it out, we'll share it with you, and then we'll come back and wrap it up. This is GearWrench's new 120 XP torque wrench, and it's their electronic torque wrench. But the reason I really like this is it's got the style, the look of your typical click-stop style torque wrench. First thing, by the way, with any torque wrench, make sure that you get your calibration card with it. Without this, pretty much your torque wrench is useless. You want to validate that your torque wrench has actually met the calibration standards. And in this, you'll also notice something else that I highly recommend. Make sure that your torque wrench is calibrated for not only clockwise, but counterclockwise as well. Because a lot of torque wrenches are only calibrated for clockwise. So when you have anything reverse threads that you need to tighten, or you're trying to find a loosening torque, whatever, a lot of times that is not calibrated. In this case, you see it is. You see clockwise, plus or minus 2%. And then in counterclockwise, CCW, plus or minus 3%. So not quite the calibration window of the clockwise, but still within 3%, which is typical of most torque wrenches, is being within 3%. And then you see the validation testing right here, that at 29 foot-pounds, it was at 27, for torquing to 30 foot-pounds, it hit 29, and 27.7 to 32.3 is the window it can be within. So well within that window. Again, at 60 it was 59, and at 90 it was 89. So very close, very much within that range or that window of plus or minus 2%. So again, make sure regardless of what torque wrench that you buy, that you have that calibration card that comes with it, and also make sure that you get your torque wrenches calibrated often as well. So this is their electronic torque wrench. Now, a few things that set this apart from others is, number one, this torque wrench comes with a flex head on it. I think it's 5 degrees of flex in it, which is really nice, especially for a torque wrench. Typically, it's a solid unit where you don't have that flex, because the more you get off center, the more that it's actually going to affect your torque rating. But again, sometimes when you're in an engine bay or something, having to torque a cylinder head, there are many times that it comes in handy to have a little bit of flex so that you can get around or get above or get below a certain item that may be in your way. So I like that head design. Also 120 XP, so it's going to have that real tight radius or degree of arc, if you will. So 120 degrees, 360 divided by 120, that's a 3-degree arc. So very little movement to grab that next notch on that paw and gear. So the 120 XP design. Also low profile head, you don't have any buttons up here, and a low profile switch as well. And by the way, it looks like they have 3 degrees actually stamped right there on the directional switch. So easy on off or lefty loosey, righty tighty, and your flex head. And then when you get here to the operational side of things, if you will, so you're going to hold the C button down for about 2 or 3 seconds, and then it's going to turn on. And then what we get is we get several selections here that we can choose from. The P tells us that is peak, so that's always going to tell us our peak torque that we're going to apply, and then it's showing also our target right now. Now we can also go from angle to peak angle to also percent. Now percent means that basically this is where we're going to set our percentage as to how close to our parameter. Let's say that we're wanting to get 100 foot-pounds. When it gets within 25%, so when it gets to 75, it's going to start alerting us here on the tool itself. So that's what PCT is. So I can hit save there. And now I can also set degrees. So on our angle, when we're saying, okay, we're going to hit 20 degrees of angle after we hit the peak torque, then it will alert us, and I can say, okay, set. And when it gets within 10 degrees of that, 20 degrees, then it's going to start alerting us, and you'll see it'll start flashing here on the screen and everything else. So that's what that is. So we'll save that. As far as units of measure, you see we've got inch pounds, and then we've got kilogram meters and Newton meters as well. So we get pound feet, inch pounds, and we get the metric readings as well. And then you also get some presets that we can set as well, where we can actually program in those different settings, and then we can filter through those as we need to. So if I want to set the target torque in peak torque mode, I'm going to power the wrench on, and then I'm going to hit the set button, and then you see it's going to ask me, okay, what does my TOR, or what do I want to torque? And let's go up here, and you'll see it'll start jumping pretty quickly there. And we'll say 100 foot-pounds, and then I'm going to hit the set button, and then I am ready to use this, and as I get close to 100 foot-pounds, it's going to start alerting me. Again, we'll use that here in a moment and show you that. Now, if I want to set the angle, same thing, we're going to turn the wrench on, and then I'm going to press the M to angle, and then I'm going to hit set. Now you can see it's giving me all the zeros, and what I can do now is say, okay, I want to set this to 15 degrees. So now I can say set, and so now that's saved of an angle at 15 degrees. And again, as I use this, which we'll show this here in a moment, and as it starts getting close to 15 degrees, it's going to start alerting me. Now, also in the angle, you don't have to do that in one swipe. A lot of times, again, if you're in an engine compartment or something, and you may only get to move it, say, 1/8 of a turn or whatever that may be, you can come back, ratchet it up, grab it again, and it will keep adding to that. It's not going to eliminate it and go back to 0. Again, we'll show that here in one moment. Now, if I want to change the target torque or the target angle alert, then I can go in and I can say, okay, I want to change the PCT. And so from there I can hit set. And now this is asking me, okay, what percentage of the torque do you want it to alert you? And I'm at 25%. Well, let's just lower that. Let's say at 20%, I want to start being alerted as to, that I'm getting close to my number. It'll start beeping, vibrating, everything else. And again, we'll show you that here in a moment. I can hit set and it's going to save that. Now it's going to switch to degrees. Okay, how far within the number of degrees do you want to be? I can say set there and say, okay, let's say within 15 degrees, start alerting me. Actually, I'm going to move it back to 10 and we'll say set. And so now we're saved for that. So now our torque target as well as our angle target has now been set. So now as we get close to those, it's going to let us know. So if I want to go into my presets, then after I turn the wrench on, I can hit set, and then I can hit M for memory, and then I can scroll through to the different presets. So basically every 25 pounds, 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, and so forth, and go to those presets if we want to, and select those. So now my wrench is set at a 200 foot-pound peak torque, and now I can start using it. Now if I want to change those preset values, then again I can go to set, and then M, and it'll show the preset number at the top. And now I can go down to 200 if I want to change that. And click save, and now it's set at 200 foot-pounds. So I can change those presets if I want to as well, but I kind of like it every 25 foot-pounds, but it was off a few tenths or so, so easy to do that. Now, if I want to set up the torque and angle method, then I can go, I'm going to go to memory, and that's going to tell me peak torque and angle, and so I want to go there. And so right now it's set at 200 foot-pounds and 15 degrees. And if I wanted to set that, reset that to say, there you go, 120 foot-pounds, set that. And then if I want to go to angle, set angle, and I can say, let's do that additional 12 degrees. And so now it's set at 200 foot-pounds and 12 degrees. And as I use it, it's first going to allow me to set that to 120 foot-pounds, and once I reach that, then I release off the tool and go back and add in the 12 degrees, and I'll show you that here in a moment as well. Now it's also going to show you when you reach kind of over capacity of the wrench itself. It'll flash red and it'll tell you over everything else, so it'll let you know when you've gone too far. By the way, they recommend you not to do that too many times, or you need to have it recalibrated, as well as, again, turning the wrench off is easy as just holding the button down here, and it's going to go off. And replacing the battery is very easy. This is just going to unscrew off the backside, and then you can pull your two AA's out and replace those batteries as needed. Now, one thing I really like about this wrench, I think I said this in the beginning, is that it looks like a typical click style torque wrench. You even have the knurled handle here. And by the way, I remember seeing this at SEMA a couple of years ago, and when GearWrench first kind of showed this to us. Very good looking wrench. I think I actually did a small video on it, but all metal. I think this is aluminum. Maybe that's plastic, but it doesn't feel so. But aluminum knurled handle on here, a nice chromoly through the middle here, and then the typical GearWrench head that looks really nice. So I'm going to use this, and we'll see how it works. Okay, so we've got our GearWrench torque wrench. Put our socket on here. We're going to go to tighten, and then I'm going to turn it on. So we're just going to hold the C button down for a couple of seconds. It's going to turn on. It's going to go to peak angle of 120. Let's leave it right there. And so we're going to leave it at 120, and we're going to see something here that as we get closer, obviously we're going to see the reading change here. So 25, 45, 50, come back here, getting closer, and now we should start, there we go. So now it's starting to get within that window, that target of within is close to 120 foot-pounds, and it's starting to alert me. And now I'm at 119.2. And so now it's vibrating, it's giving me the red and green light. So when it gets to that red light, it's basically telling me I have reached my torque angle, now went past it. There we go. So looks like peak torque of 127 foot-pounds is what I have torqued that to. So now I can clear that, and then let's go to angle. So my angle is set to 12 degrees. So let's just change that to 20 degrees. So now we're at 20 degrees. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now I'm at 12 degrees, and I can come back up, and now it's going 18 and 20. So here's the thing. Not only does it tell me that I hit my 20 degrees angle, but it also shows me the torque foot-pounds as well. So I not only gave it a 20 degree angle, but it also tells me that I torqued it to 77 foot-pounds is what it censored. So that's something you won't find on a click style torque wrench, the ability to do that, to be able to see that. A lot of times you know how much angle you can add to a torque rating, but you're not going to know how much torque you applied by giving it that angle. So let's do that one more time. That's pretty cool. So again, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So now I'm at 12 and 50 foot-pounds, 20 foot-pounds, and 67.2 foot-pounds. So 20 degrees and 67.2 foot-pounds on that angle. So that's pretty cool. We'll change this. We'll go back to peak torque, and you'll see I'm going to go ahead and loosen these. It'll tell me, okay, 52.4 foot-pounds and 111.1 foot-pounds. So it gives me my peak torque even in loosening as well, and so just kind of let me know how much I'm applying there. Okay, let's go to our peak torque plus angle. There we go. Okay, I had to lay that down for it to actually, it was sensing something that I was applying some force or something. So I'm at peak torque plus angle, and actually let's set that, and we're going to set the peak torque to 89 foot-pounds, and I've set the angle to 17 degrees. So we've got 89 foot-pounds and 17 degrees. And make sure this is loose. There we go. And then so now we're going to apply first our torque. So 44 foot-pounds. And now you'll see there goes our degrees. There we go. So there's our 100, we basically got a peak torque of 170 foot-pounds, and we hit our 17 degrees of angle. So we did our torque and our angle, and again, the accumulation of that, it just measured 170 foot-pounds. So again, that's pretty cool. Again, we had programmed in there 89 foot-pounds plus the 17 degrees, and both those things equated to 170 foot-pounds of peak torque given to that fastener. And then again, if I just wanted to measure peak torque, I can leave it in the peak torque mode with the P there, and then as I loosen things or tighten things, it'll give me the max. So it took 137.5 foot-pounds to break free that 170 foot-pounds that I just torqued. So again, I'll show you this here as well. If I just tighten up, it's going to tell me the peak torque of 153, and then if I want to loosen that, tells me it took 122 foot-pounds to break free that 155 that I just tightened. And by the way, if you just leave it for 30 seconds or so, it'll actually turn off on its own. The flexible head on this ratchet comes in really handy. Now, it may only look like a little bit of head swivel, which it is, but that is going to come in quite handy, especially in the situation, as I mentioned, where you're actually torquing a set of cylinder heads in a vehicle, or maybe an intake or exhaust or anything like that, and you're trying to get your torque wrench in and you're hitting that, whether it's the AC accumulator, an alternator, a bracket, what have you, and you need that little bit of movement to get out of the way, and you really don't want to put a swivel or anything like that when you're torquing something, so that gives you that little bit of movement to get out of the way when you need to. I like the fact that we've added angle to this. That comes in very handy for today's fasteners. You get a lot of those critical torque to yield fasteners where you're doing the, setting it at 50 foot-pounds and then doing a 90-degree swing and then so forth and so on. And the fact that you can add both of those, and the fact that you don't have to do it all in one sweep. You can give, that 12 degrees and then another 8 degrees to get your total, 20 degrees of rotation. Also like the intuitiveness of after you do the, your torque of say 80 foot-pounds and then you do your 20-degree swing, it tells you, hey, you've applied 140 foot-pounds of total torque. Like to have that as well. It's just, I don't know, kind of neat to know, if you will. This one runs about 250 bucks. So it's not a cheap tool by any means, but for torque wrenches, that's not exactly a lot of money either. I like the feel of it. I like the use of it. This is probably going to be our go-to from here forward, and can't wait to use this on some actual jobs and play around with it. So check it out for yourself. Again, this is the GearRich XP, the 120 XP, and this is the model number 85196. And you can also get it, I believe it's the 194 and 195 for the 1/4 inch and the 3/8 inch. So check it out for yourselves. Also keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you don't mind, would you hit that like and subscribe button, but only if you like this video. Also, keep smiling.